What's good, YouTube? It's your boy DJ LiftOFF, and you don't want to miss this flight. Now, in today's video, we're going to be talking about the all-new Alpha Theta GRV6 or the GRV6, however you want to call it. So first, I'm going to do a quick overview of all of the new features that comes with this controller, and then I'll hop into what I usually go into as far as the feel of the jog wheels, the crossfader, the volume faders, all of that stuff. So with that said, let's hop right into it. All right, so right before we do hop into the features, I just want to talk about how lightweight this controller is. It actually surprised me when I took it out of the box. Now, sometimes that can mean that the build quality isn't up to par or it isn't that great. However, I think the build quality on this controller is pretty good. Of course, it's not gonna be as great as your high tier controllers, but it also isn't the same build quality as your super or your lower tier controllers. I think it fits right into the mid tier controller. This coming at the price of $829, I think it pretty much fits the quality around where the price range is for this controller. All right, DJ, so now let's hop into some of these features. First thing I want to say is this controller is compatible with Serato DJ Pro as well as Rekordbox. So in Rekordbox, if you look here in the top right, you have this thing called Groove Circuit. This is pretty much a quick way for you to remix songs and remix drums directly, pretty much like in real time. Now, I don't use Rekordbox, but this really has me thinking that I want to hop into Rekordbox so I can check out some of these features, but I won't be going over that in this particular video. If you do look over on the left-hand side, there's a little slip that you can put directly over the stem section or your feature section. And then it actually says stems effects over here. So this is gonna be for your Serato DJ Pro users. As you can see, we have our level and depth over here all the way on the left. We have our vocal, melody, bass, and drums over here. And essentially, this is saying that all of these are enabled right now. So I can disable them just by clicking them. And essentially by enabling them, all you have to do is flip up this lever right here. If you put it on lock, that'll activate whatever effect that you have on the bottom here. So if I hold shift like this, we have echo out, roll out, breaker, and delay, just like that. So I'll give you a quick example of what that sounds like.
Damn, this shit a front and got me thinking this is my song. Hold on, oh wait, hold on, oh hold on, oh hold on, oh wait, hold on, oh wait, oh wait, oh wait, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Damn son, I'm just handsome. She gave your man son. These lame niggas only fans son. You pay the rent. From Houston, I swear they ruthless. They do tricks. You new niggas always talk a lot. Type of niggas that don't ever move like a parking spot. I know I'm too cocky. I don't play a lot. See, that's just not me. It's not me. Diamond on me dancing. Damn, this shit a front and got me thinking this is my song. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Oh wait, hold on. Oh wait, 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 wait. Hold on. Oh wait, 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 wait. Flexing with your gang, it got you.
All right, DJ, so there's just a quick example of some of the things that you can do when you're using Serato DJ Pro and you're using this stems effects. Now, another cool thing to mention about this controller is it's actually based on the CDJ-3000s and the DJM-A9. For the 3000s, it has a really similar setup with the pads up here right above the jog wheel. We have our fader, our tempo fader over here and some buttons over here, as well as our in and out right over here. I haven't personally used the CDJ-3000s. That's definitely something on my radar that I want to use at some point, but this is definitely the same exact layout. So if that's something that you usually use, usually those are in a lot of clubs. If you're a club DJ, this will fit you perfectly. Also, the DJM-A9, it has the same exact mixer section as the A9. So all of these effects over here, you have your delay, echo, spiral, helix, reverb, flanger, pitch, roll, and more all over here. And of course, as you know, all you have to do to activate this is just hit this button right here. Now, me personally, I have never been a huge fan of the button. To me, it just feels like doing a lot to have to literally turn this and pick the effect, and then you also have to choose which channel you actually want the effect on. Then of course you have your level and depth depending on how strong you want that effect, and then the button. It's just a little bit much for me. So what I really do like about this controller, for me particularly, if I ever want to echo out a vocal or echo out a bass or whatever I want to do as far as my stems. I also have this echo out, which I use a lot right up here. And then I can just use this effect button up here because I really am used to like the lever, being able to hold it down or just push it up to lock. So that's a really good bonus for me. All right, so those are some of the main features on this particular controller. But now I want to talk about some of the other things, particularly the jog wheels, the crossfader, how they feel, all of those types of things, so I can give you a better understanding of how it feels for me and hopefully be able to help you as well. So starting with the crossfader first. Now when I'm scratching, and I'll do a scratch example in just a quick second, I was actually impressed with the scratching on this. It's of course not good like as a higher tier controller. The crossfader, it's not perfect, it's not bad either. I will say it's pretty decent enough to definitely get some scratching in. It's pretty loose. I think it could be a little bit looser. It definitely reminds me of other controllers in the past. I don't have a particular controller in mind, but it's definitely good enough for scratching. So I definitely will show you a quick example really quickly. All right, DJ, so there's just a quick example of me freestyling and scratching. And like I said, the crossfader feels decently good. You can definitely get some scratching in. Definitely not the highest tier, definitely not the lowest tier. But if you are a scratch DJ, you can definitely get down on this if you like to. So I'll give it a thumbs up, or like maybe like a thumb slanted. The jog wheels on this controller are definitely a really good size. I always like to do a quick test of jog wheels and pretty much just put my hand on it and see if I can comfortably have all of my fingers on it. And I definitely think this passes the test easily. Definitely a sizable jog wheel, and they feel really good as well. When I'm doing the speeding up, of course, speeding up is going this way and going back this way. That's really good, really precise. Definitely like the way it feels. I definitely, coming from having vinyl or using my reins, I definitely sometimes like to have just these little ridges on the outside and be able to easily speed up and slow down my track. So that's definitely a plus on this controller. One thing I will say is when I am scratching, when I'm on the jog wheel, it's not always as precise as I like it. So sometimes I do really quick scratching where I'm coming back and I'm going forward, kind of similar to this right here. So sometimes when I'm doing quicker scratching like that, the jog wheel sometimes will go a little bit further back than I want it to, or it'll be a little bit more forward. Now this could just be a me thing. It could be a me thing where I'm not doing it precisely enough. However, I am used to using my vinyl. So when I'm doing it on my vinyl, what I do definitely works. On this controller, it's not always as precise. So definitely just keep that in mind. One last thing to say about this, when you are playing your tracks, you do have this red, pretty much this digital marker that goes around. So that's whether you like that or not. Just pretty much noting that that is there when you're playing. All right, DJ, so now right below the jog wheel and to the right, we're gonna start with our master tempo up here. So if we have that lock, that's gonna lock in your pitch, depending if you go down or if you go up, that'll lock that in right there. And then same button, we have our range as well. So that's gonna be, if you hold shift here, you can go from 8 to 16, or plus and minus 8, plus and minus 16, plus or minus 50. Now that's gonna be really important for this particular controller, because if you look right below that, we have our tempo fader right here. Now this tempo fader doesn't have that much room. That's one of the things that I wish it did have a little bit more room. Like if it came up to the master tempo and was about this long, it will be a little bit better. However, you do have that range for that reason. So you might want to go plus and minus 16, or you might even want to go plus and minus 50, depending on how you do mix. Now for the tempo fader in itself, is not super fluid. I'm kind of used to a more fluid tempo fader. You do meet this with a little bit of resistance when you're going up and down. However, it's nothing crazy. Definitely still easily usable, feels okay. Right to the left of that, we have our sync button right here. Turn that on by just clicking it. And then of course, hold shift click it again to turn it off. And then we also have, if you do have pitch and key, I believe you have to have pitch and key for this. You also have your key sync as well. So depending on whatever track you have playing over here, if you press key sync, it'll change the key to match whatever key is on the other deck right over there. Okay, so now moving over to the left a little bit more, we have our standard play button, of course. We have our cue button. These are a pretty good size, pretty standard on most of your Pioneer DJ or your Alpha Theta controllers. Nothing too crazy there. So now moving up, we have our slip, we have our quantize, we have our buttons for going in and out as far as our loops. We have a reloop as well as exit. So we have those buttons pretty standard. Again, those all feel okay. Now we have our pad mode right above the jog wheels here. So right here we have our hot cue, and then our hot cues. These are gonna be our 8 hot cues up here, which we can obviously set or turn off by holding shift, just like that. We also have keyboard on the bottom of hot cue. So of course, if we hold shift, hit that, now we're on keyboard mode. Moving over to the right from there, you have your stems button right there. So this is gonna be the same type of stems on any other pads. This would be like, if these were stacked up, these would be your first 4 pads, and then these 4 pads over here will be below. So this is gonna be your vocal, your melody, your bass, and your drums. Re-enable those. This will take out that vocal. As you can see, it'll echo it out. Same thing, pretty much the exact same thing on any other controller. This would echo out your drum section. Right beside that, we have our beat jump right here. We also have our sampler right there. On the bottom, we already saw keyboard. We also have our pad effects. We have our beat loop, and we have our key shift right there. So definitely all effects that you've probably seen before, all nice to have right there. Now again, for me, I haven't used a CDJ-3000 before. All of these pads are pretty small for me. I typically like, or I do like the battle style layout where all my pads are in the middle and the pads are a little bit bigger. However, as I've been using this controller, I've gotten pretty used to clicking them up here. I do think the buttons are a little bit small. However, again, if you've used a CDJ-3000 or something similar, you might be used to the button size. For me, they're a little bit small. However, they click in just fine. I haven't had any issues with clicking them so far. Even though I did say they're small, I haven't had any issues whatsoever. All right, so now moving over to your right, you have your call section. Also, you have your half X and your 2X for your loops, as well as right here, we have our decks. Obviously switching from deck 1 here to deck 3, and then over here we have deck 2 and we have deck 4. So that's one thing I really do like about this controller, of course, is that it does have your 4 channels. So again, depending on how you like to mix, you do have all of your 4 channels right here. Now, as far as these volume faders, similar to the tempo fader over here, definitely they meet you with a little bit of resistance. So if you're somebody that likes to sometimes scratch or do quick motions with these volume faders, probably wouldn't say that it's perfect for that. They do feel fluid in general. Like for me, sometimes when I have to push up on a volume fader really slowly, this is perfect for that. So if you're someone who likes to do that, kind of like slow fade ins or slow fade outs, definitely perfect for that. But if you're somebody, again, who wants to do like quick movements, definitely not made for that. Now, right above that, we have all of our stem ISO buttons that can be used for cueing, so you can hear everything in your headphones depending on how you like to mix. Right above that, we have our effects section right here. Not effects section, just your effects enabler. Obviously, this being on or off when you want to use your sound color. This is just going to be a filter. Now, this filter button feels super good. It does kind of click in the middle, which I do like. I can't stand when it doesn't click in the middle. So it does set in the middle when you get to the middle. And this feels perfectly fine, perfectly fluid for a sound effects knob. Definitely good there. Moving up from there, we of course have our standard low, mid, and high EQs. Again, these feel just fine as well. If you do like to mix and use these a lot, I'm gonna assume you definitely do, especially low end. For me, I'm always turning on my lows depending on what track I'm bringing in next. But again, these feel perfectly fine. No issues here whatsoever. And at the very top, we have our trim slash kind of like volume, but your trim section as well at the very top. That feels fine. And then lastly, on the back of the controller, you do have your RCA booth. You also have a RCA master out. You also have a 1/4 inch master out as well, and a balanced 1/4 inch connection for your microphone as well. So overall, I would definitely say this controller is a good pickup. I could definitely see myself using this out when I'm DJing. There's tons and tons of controllers out there, so I don't think it would be like necessarily like one of my top ones to use immediately. However, depending on your mixing style and also if you're in record box DJ, I do think the groove circuit is really cool. I also think the stems effects section is really cool as well. So overall, for the price range, I think it's right around $829 as of right now. Definitely a good price for this particular controller and all of the features, like your onboard effects. Definitely good for the features that it does come with. So if you enjoyed this review and you enjoyed this video, please press that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so you know the next time that I upload a video. Press that like button as well. Leave a comment if you do have any questions. And without further ado, I will catch y'all on the next flight.